There are places in deep space where signals disappear. Not because of distance, not because of interference, but because something out there does not let them leave. At least that was the rumor surrounding the Perseus Dead Zone. Officially, the United Earth Coalition classified the region as a naturally occurring communications anomaly caused by gravitational distortion fields and unstable dark matter concentrations. Unofficially, people who worked long-range communications believed something inside the dead zone listened. And in 2189, communications officer Mara Vance was stationed closer to it than any human being in recorded history. By the time command assigned her to Echo 9, Mara had already spent nearly 15 years working isolated deep space relays. She was quiet, disciplined, emotionally detached, exactly the kind of person the coalition trusted with psychologically brutal assignments. No spouse, no children, no surviving parents, minimal social attachments, the ideal candidate for loneliness. Echo 9 drifted in complete darkness nearly 4 billion miles from the nearest inhabited station. It barely qualified as human habitation. A skeletal communications platform, a rotating habitation ring, a hydroponics bay, an equipment deck, one medical pod, one person. The station constantly groaned around her, metal expanding, pipes ticking, ventilation fans humming through narrow corridors. After enough time in deep space, people stopped hearing silence. They started hearing the machinery breathe. For 8 months, Mara's life became mechanical. Wake, run diagnostics, check signal arrays, log the emptiness, sleep, repeat. Her personal journals became shorter over time. At first, she described dreams, memories, thoughts about Earth. By month 6, her logs contained only operational reports. By month 8, many entries were completely blank. Then day 241 arrived. At exactly 0213 station time, the communications board lit yellow. Unknown transmission detected. Nothing came out of the dead zone. Nothing. No probes survived long enough. No military expeditions returned. No satellites maintained stable orbit. Yet the signal was there. Weak, fragmented, alive. Mara activated the receiver. Static flooded the room. Soft static, low frequency, uneven, almost rhythmic, like breathing. She adjusted the filters. Nothing changed. No language, no metadata, no recognizable encryption, just static. And then Mara smelled rain. Not station condensation, not sterilized recycled water. Rain, summer rain on hot pavement. Her breath caught in her throat. Suddenly, she was 9 years old again. Chicago. A thunderstorm rolling through the city. Her father laughing from the apartment balcony while she ran barefoot through flooded streets. The memory slammed into her with impossible force, not like remembering, like reliving. Then the transmission stopped. The room went silent. Mara realized tears were running down her face. She had not thought about that memory in over 30 years. The next transmission came exactly 24 hours later, again at 0213, again lasting 1 minute and 13 seconds. This time she smelled cigarette smoke and hospital antiseptic, age 14, sitting beside her dying mother, watching machines breathe for someone who no longer could. The emotional force of it was unbearable. When the signal ended, Mara vomited across the control console, but she still waited for the next transmission. That terrified her because some part of her already needed it. Command finally responded 17 hours later. Standard protocol, document symptoms, limit exposure, continue monitoring. Easy instructions from people sitting safely on Earth. Harder when you were alone in deep space and the only thing speaking to you understood your memories better than you did. Over the next week, the signal returned every night, and every night it dug deeper. Forgotten birthdays, the smell of her grandmother's apartment, the exact feeling of snow melting inside winter gloves, the sting of blood in her mouth after her first fight. Then came memories Mara did not want. Her abortion at 23, the argument with her brother before she left Earth forever, ignoring her mother's final call because she was late for launch briefing. And the physical effects worsened. Mara developed nosebleeds first, long streams of dark blood dripping onto station floors during transmissions. Then migraines, then auditory hallucinations. At first, she heard whispers inside ventilation shafts, then footsteps, then breathing. One night, she woke convinced someone was standing beside her bunk. She snapped on the overhead light. Nobody. But the floor beneath her bed was wet, not water, blood, fresh. A thin trail of it stretched from her bunk across the room and disappeared beneath the door. Mara followed it into the corridor. The station lights flickered weakly overhead. The blood trail continued all the way to the medical bay. The door slid open automatically. Inside, the medical pod was active, occupied. Mara froze. There should have been nobody else on board. Slowly, she approached the pod. Condensation fogged the glass. Then a hand slapped against the inside. Mara screamed and stumbled backward. The pod hissed open. Inside was her, or something wearing her shape. Its body looked wrong. The skin hung loose like wet paper. Its jaw unhinged too wide. Its eyes bulged with burst blood vessels. And its chest had been split open. Ribs cracked outward like broken fingers. Inside the cavity, something moved, not organs, black tendrils, wet, writhing, pulsing slowly beneath strings of blood. The thing smiled. Mara, it spoke with her own voice. Then the station lights died. When emergency lighting activated seconds later, the pod was empty. No blood, no body, no sign anything had been there at all. That was the first moment Mara seriously considered abandoning the station. But evacuation required command authorization, and command had stopped responding. Every outgoing transmission she sent vanished. No confirmation, no reply, nothing. It was as if Echo 9 itself had become isolated from humanity. Then the signal changed. On day 246, the speakers activated automatically while Mara slept. Static poured through the station. Beneath it was piano music, Moon River, her mother's favorite song. Every light inside the station flickered simultaneously. Then the outer hatch alarm activated. Open cycle request detected. The request came from inside the station. Mara ran to the equipment deck. The outer hatch controls were active, and standing in front of them was another version of herself. This one looked worse. Its skin had split along the jawline, teeth protruded through torn flesh, one eye dangled partially from the socket by strands of nerve tissue, but it was smiling, calmly, lovingly. You remember now, it whispered. Mara lunged backward in horror. The thing slammed its own head repeatedly into the airlock door. Crack, bone split, crack, blood sprayed across the metal, crack. Its skull finally ruptured open with a wet popping sound. Gray matter slid down the hatch in thick strings, yet the body remained standing, still smiling. Then the station lights cut out again. When they returned, the corridor was empty. Mara locked herself inside the command center after that, but the signal no longer needed speakers. She began hearing voices through walls. Her mother crying, her father laughing, her brother begging her not to leave Earth. One night, Mara heard chewing inside the hydroponics bay. She armed herself with a welding torch and followed the sound. The plants had been shredded. Vines hung from the ceiling, dripping dark fluid. And in the center of the room sat a human body. At least it had once been human. The torso was opened from throat to pelvis. The ribcage peeled outward, the organs missing. Its face was gone, not cut off, eaten slowly. Mara staggered backward in terror. Then the corpse moved. Its spine bent sharply with a cracking sound. The thing crawled toward her using broken arms. Inside its hollow chest cavity, dozens of black tendrils writhed together like a nest of worms. And from somewhere deep inside the body came her mother's voice. You left us. Mara burned it. She emptied the welding torch directly into the creature until burning fat filled the room with thick smoke. The thing screamed in overlapping human voices while its flesh melted from the bone. But even as the body collapsed, the tendrils continued moving inside the fire, trying to crawl, trying to reach her. That was when Mara finally accessed the station's restricted files. Echo 9 was not the first station near the dead zone. There had been 3 others. Every crew assigned there experienced identical symptoms: memory disturbances, visual hallucinations, compulsive behavior, self-harm, eventually disappearance. The classified reports called it cognitive mimetic parasitism. One line from the report stood out: the entity does not communicate through language, it communicates through emotional recognition. Another line was worse: subjects eventually become biologically compromised following prolonged exposure. Mara opened the medical scans attached to the file. She regretted it instantly. The scans showed previous crew members after late-stage exposure. Their nervous systems had changed. Black organic growth wrapped around spinal columns. Thread-like structures filled lungs. Dense masses spread through brain tissue. One image showed a crewman whose entire ribcage had split outward from internal pressure. Something inside him had forced its way out. The final image froze Mara completely. A recovered body drifting in open space near the dead zone. Its suit helmet intact, its body empty. Skin, bones, muscle, all hollowed clean from the inside, as though something had worn the human body briefly before shedding it. Mara checked exterior cameras. At first she saw only darkness. Then static rolled across the screen, and standing on the hull was a figure. No tether, no visible propulsion, no suit lights, just a human silhouette staring directly into the camera. Then another appeared, then another, dozens. Human shapes standing silently across the outer surface of Echo 9. Some wore torn EVA suits. Others appeared naked, most looked mutilated. Faces peeled away, limbs bent backward, abdomens hanging open with organs trailing weightlessly into space. One figure slowly turned toward the camera, its jaw opened impossibly wide. Inside its mouth was only darkness. And from that darkness came static. The station speakers activated immediately afterward. Mara, her mother's voice crying softly, "He left me alone." Then her father. Please. Then dozens of voices together. "Mara, come outside." According to the final station logs, Mara's heart rate spiked beyond safe levels. Every suppressed memory of her life surfaced simultaneously. The signal had mapped her completely by then, every fear, every regret, every loneliness, and now it was pulling. The outer hatch alarm activated. Mara never touched the controls, yet the airlock began depressurizing. The final surviving footage from Echo 9 showed Mara standing in the corridor staring toward the hatch while blood streamed from her nose and ears. Her skin appeared to move beneath the surface. Something inside her was shifting. Then her abdomen suddenly bulged outward violently. Mara screamed. A black tendril punched through her stomach from the inside. Blood splattered across the corridor walls. Another tore through her throat. Then another split her jaw apart. The station audio recorded wet tearing sounds as her rib cage cracked open from within. Something inside her body was unfolding, growing, learning her shape. The final frame of footage showed Mara still standing despite catastrophic injuries, smiling. Then the recording cut permanently to black. 6 months later, a recovery team found Echo 9 drifting dark near the edge of the Perseus Dead Zone. No bodies were recovered, only blood. The walls inside the station were covered in fingerprints dragged through drying gore. Long trails of skin and tissue stretched through corridors toward the outer hatch. The Perseus Dead Zone was permanently quarantined shortly afterward. Officially, the region does not exist, but among deep space communications crews, the story still circulates quietly. Operators talk about impossible transmissions arriving through dead channels, about hearing familiar voices hidden inside static, about dreams that do not belong to them. And every now and then, someone stationed too close to the edge of mapped space opens an empty signal and suddenly smells rain.